It's the 21st century, and it's time for you to break free from the old ideas, the old beliefs, the old shackles that have been holding you back and keeping you bound in misery and failure. It's time to learn the truth about your power and about what's really going on in the world. Everything that you see and experience is a reflection of what's going on inside of you. Nothing more, but nothing less. Learn the truth. Change your life. Change the planet.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Reality Changer Radio. This is Dave Dickey, your host. It is Tuesday, February 18th at 6 p.m. And tonight, I want to talk about forgiveness and love as it has to do with your overall progress spiritually. I find over time, after talking to many different clients, when we research personally their past and what has happened to them and by who, inevitably we come full circle to the realization that those types of things happened or the person was exposed to those type of things in their own past. For instance, let's say that you were beaten as a child, or you were molested as a child, or you were always made to feel like you weren't worthy. If you were to research the person's past, whoever did this to you, could be your parents, could be a caretaker, could be the paternal grandmother, whatever. Whoever did it to you, if you were to research their past, then more often than not, you will find that there is some connection with that behavior in regards towards their own conditional programming. And this is where it gets tough. As a child, not only do we not know about someone else's programming and what has happened to them, we can't even fathom why we should care. All we know is that we're experiencing these things that make us unhappy, make us cry, give us pain, whatever, and we know that we don't want it to happen. When it happens on a continuous basis, we grow up with resentment and fear and anger. And as we get older, we push away the people that presented that reality to us and did those things to us. And, you know, if they're severe enough, we don't even care why. Hate comes along, anger comes along. Sometimes children distance themselves from their loved ones for decades because of whatever happened. Unfortunately, those things that have been pushed down, and that's essentially what's going on here, they're being pushed down because that's what we're programmed to do. We're not programmed to explore them because we don't have time, or it's too painful, or what. Whatever those reasons are, this is part of our conditional programming. So unfortunately, in an effort to become successful, to prove people wrong, to end the craziness, to step into the light, we need to and have to address those things that we know were wrong in our past. And it's vital to our success going forward to understand exactly where we come from. Now, I always caution everybody not to dwell on it, because as we all know, whatever you concentrate on the most of, that's what you're going to get more of, and we don't want that to happen. But it's important to recognize exactly what happened and to own it, and to understand that without that basis and without that recognition of what happened, then when you slip going forward, and we all do, then you won't truly understand the reason why, or you may not truly give the proper credence to the real reason why, and you may think the process is broken or the process doesn't work, and you continue on without ever having dealt with the issues that are actually causing you to have your slips and your setbacks as you're moving forward. Knowing exactly where they come from and understanding those as they were setbacks, which is why you need to work on everything that's going on now, and that they are setbacks until you deal with them, and knowing that, you can recognize that when it happens, and you can go, oh, there I go again, and I'll bet it was because of this. I better work on that some more. Ignoring them, then you just go around by default and have your setbacks and have your slips and start having your doubts and frustration about the process. Once you start to analyze exactly what did happen to you, then the first step after that is to look at the people that did it to you or that were responsible for it happening and understand something very, very important. That everyone is exactly the same spiritually. And what I mean by that is not one person is less powerful than the next, and not one person is less deserving than the next, and not one person is less capable than the next of having everything they want. What will stop them is the knowledge of how to go about it. When you consider the fact that you manifest 24/7, and that your feelings, as I've talked about before, your feelings are going to create this reality for you, whatever that looks like. Take that into consideration and understand that without getting a handle on what's happening, then you're going around by default and misguided. But also understand that because we're all the same, then people in your past, without this knowledge, did the best they could. They did the best they could. I wasn't there to teach them about this. Other people weren't there. The situations were different. Understand that here we are in the 21st century, and the only thing that's really 21st century is our electronics and our technology. But our people are still 18th century in a very real sense. It has not been that long since we were riding horses and plowing fields, and that's the mentality that has taken hold of generation after generation after generation. And if you don't believe me, look at some of the cities that are still around in the 21st century and look at the way they live. And they're doing the best they can. Look at some of the pockets of different cities. Look at pockets of inner cities. They're doing the best they can. Because it's not because of ignorance. Well, it is because of ignorance. They don't know any better. But it's not because brain capacity. Nobody is really stupid. You see, there's another fallacy. Nobody is really stupid. Uneducated does not equal stupid. And when I say uneducated, trust me on this, I am not talking about conditional programmed education as we know it in the school systems today. That is not education. That is brainwashing for subjugation and submitting to the master. So understand that whoever beat you, whoever molested you, whoever called you stupid, you have to put yourself in their place in order for this forgiveness to take hold. You have to look at their life as if it was you living it, and then put all these restrictions on yourself that they had. You can't do this, you're not supposed to do that, divorce is a sin, all this other stuff, depending on their religion and depending on their culture and their community. Put all of those restrictions on yourself. And then couple all of that with cultures of drinking and excess, cultures of women don't have a say, women don't work, men do all the work and have all the stress for it. All of the limited programming that their parents had, and put all of that onto you. And now understand that for the same reason that you do what you do, they did what they did. You may not succeed because you've been brainwashed by your parents to feel that rich people are not fair. And so there's, depending on how that came across to you as a child, that's going to affect your adulthood. And you're going to act accordingly. And whoever you talk to as a child, you're going to put that on them. Let's say you have kids, and that's going to be an effect on them. So how are they supposed to handle that when they look back at you? And the only way to handle that when they look back at you is to understand where you come from. You can only do what you've been programmed to do. Plain and simple. The programming is real. The programming does happen. However, the programming that has been going on has led to the greatest collapse of economic finance in the history of the world. That, my friends, is not success, and that is not true love. The programming that's been going on is based in farmer mentality in a technological age. It is not self-sustaining. The new programming for the children must be one of true success and self-love, not self-sacrifice and hard labor. That is the farmer mentality that is being reproduced in the schools today. Get a job, get a job, get a job. Don't be successful, just get a job. More and more people are finding that that's not the way to live. But understand that that's exactly how your programmers were brought up. And whatever things happen to them, let's say, for instance, you were always neglected. Okay? Look back in the past of the people who neglected you. Research it. Do your ancestry research. Go deep into it. Get to know your family. Get to know your roots. Unless you do, you're always going to be wondering, why did that SOB do that? Why did she talk to me like that? Why did they make me feel like they hated me? They have reasons, but they didn't do things deliberately. They did things that they were programmed to do. And as far as they were concerned, they were doing it better than their programmers. Hence some of the old sayings like, my kids are going to have it better than me. That's a complete realization that you were handed a load of crap and that you can do better than that. You're going to do better than that. And you can do better than that. But you're not going to achieve the ultimate success unless you're able to look back and understand how that came to be in your life and how that came to be in your programmer's life. It's vital that you take these steps and start forgiving the people that you may have disdain for or hate for or disregard for, because that's a part of your past you don't want to dredge up. Well, I hate to tell you this, but if you plan on being successful and you plan on controlling your day-to-day life and you plan on never being blindsided by something that you're not sure of, then you're going to have to dredge up the past and you're going to have to deal with it. And you're going to have to go through those emotional traumas if they're there. You don't have to go through them more than once unless it's not working the way you're doing it. Seek out professional help, and I'm not talking about psychiatrists. You know you better than anybody. You know where you came from. But you have to go back there and understand where they came from. Because understanding where they came from, and I mean they as your programmers, will allow you to analytically understand exactly why they did what they did when they did it. You see, you have to look into this like a scientist. And you have to get very clinical with all the facts and figures as to what got you to where you are now. Why are you who you are? Where are you right now, and how did you get here? You must be able to analyze that question. Because if you can't, then you won't be able to set the proper course for the future. If you don't know where you come from, you can't know where you're going. Because it will come back to bite you in the butt when you least expect it. And you will be left sitting there holding the bag and wondering what the hell just happened and why. And you'll get frustrated and you'll get angry and you'll get disheartened about the system and about the process, and the whole cycle will start all over again. So in order to start forgiving, which is what you must do, you must forgive these poor people who didn't have access to the multitudes of people like myself, Esther Hicks, Bob Proctor, and all the others who are out there today trying to enlighten everyone as to the real truth about our spiritual beings. They didn't have access to all of these people. And who knows, maybe it's a humanity evolution that we all have that now. Who knows? But the fact of the matter is, 9 times out of 10, they didn't have access to it. And what's funny is when I'm in a room with clients and I'll ask people, what's your story? What's your story? Because it seems like everybody has a story. I will find inevitably 1 out of 4 people don't have a story. Imagine that. Only one. Only 1 out of 4 people don't have a story. How many people does that mean? How many people, if you take those odds and you start going back in your family, or if you go to work and you look around and you say, okay, 1 out of 4 doesn't have all the issues I have, but 3 out of 4 do. How many people is that? That's a lot of people. And we can change those odds to 1 out of 4 or 1 out of 10 has issues. It's going to take time, and it's going to take understanding, and above all, it's going to take forgiveness. And not only forgiveness of the people that, quote unquote, did us wrong, and I mean everybody, not even just your programmers, but everybody around you who you feel has done you wrong. And we'll get into that in another session. But also yourself. You have to start forgiving yourself, because as children, we have a tendency to blame ourselves because we are so attached to our guardians and our parents and those around us who we adore and love. We are so attached that, and we're so self-absorbed that we feel the world revolves around us. And so what happens is when they're angry at each other or about some external issue, we take it upon ourselves and we take all that emotion and all that hurt and all that pain, and when they can't be happy with us, and you know those times where it's like, get out of here, I can't take this right now, then we blame ourselves and we say they're angry at us. And we don't want that. We don't want that. And for the same reason that we bend over backwards as children to submit to the programming so that we don't get sent to bed without supper or don't get our butts whacked or whatever, for that same reason, we start to blame ourselves because we're the cause of their pain. Because we've been programmed to believe that if they're not happy, it's because of us. And so because of that programming, we take on that responsibility and we take on that guilt. Well, it must have been my fault that they split up. It must have been my fault that he killed himself. It must have been my fault that what? It was never your fault. It was never your fault. And so part of the process of forgiveness is to also forgive yourself. You never had a hand in this, you just witnessed it. It was not your fault. It never could have been. You had no connection with it. You were just an innocent bystander watching the train wreck. It was not your fault. So you have to forgive the people that you need to forgive. And most importantly, you have to forgive yourself. And start loving yourself. One of the best ways to start to forgive yourself is understand that you weren't responsible, but also to just start loving yourself. We're never taught to do that. We're not taught success and we're not taught self-love. It's always the self-sacrifice, work hard, blah, 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 and, beat yourself into an early grave. The farmer mentality. Start loving yourself. Start doing nice things for yourself. And start being grateful that you personally, and I don't mean start being an ass that other people don't do it, but start being grateful that you personally can do this for yourself. And how amazing is it that you found some new way to help yourself proceed along the path of progress and success without having to have a shrink or any of that stuff. And just start getting real happy about yourself. Love yourself. Look in the mirror and tell yourself, I love you and I accept you for who you are. Because we're a team, and together there's no stopping us. And do this a couple of times a week. Take the time out. It only takes a second to do it. But seriously, sit down, look at yourself in the mirror, and look into your own eyes and tell yourself how much you love yourself. This is not being self-centered. This is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about truly forgiving yourself for any failures that you've done. We always have those idiot sayings like, oh, I'm so stupid. Oh, I'm this. Oh, I'm that. Do you know 98% of your body is water, and that good, bad, or indifferent words affect water, and you affect your own body when you start to criticize yourself or when you start to praise yourself, you have an effect on your own body. It's very important to understand that. So when you start going around and go, oh, I was so stupid about that, man, that just sets up a bad vibe in your body. And you don't want that. You need to start reversing all of that stupid stuff and start telling yourself just how smart you are, how awesome you are. And I mean, don't do it like, you got 27 things and you mention them each day like a mantra. There's no feeling in that. You want to get some feeling. You want to get some emotion. You want to get that energy into really believing that you are good. You're good enough. You're a powerful spiritual being. And no matter what happened to you in the past, you have the tools and the understanding and the power to be able to analyze all of that, forgive everybody because they didn't have access to the information you have, know that you're going to change things, and understand that along the way there's going to be slips and setbacks, because that's what happens every single time, no matter what you try to do. You're working out for a marathon, and okay, so you hurt your knee. That's a setback. That's a slip. And then you start to analyze, well, how did I hurt my knee? What was I doing? Did I overtrain? Okay, so I won't overtrain. And you take solace from the fact that you're able to look back and jot this down in your exercise journal or your marathon journal and say, look, if I don't want to hurt my knee, then I don't overtrain, or I don't do this, or I don't wear these shoes. Your life is no different than a marathon. It is a race that you're running, that you're going to have setbacks on while you're training. And understand that just like with any race or anything you do, you need to know where those setbacks come from so that you don't constantly repeat them. And the only way to do that is to do your research and your homework on where those setbacks come from. And when it comes to life, that's all of your programmers. Even your friends. Your friends are your programmers. People that you adore, idols that you adore. Okay? So when you start analyzing all of it, put it on paper. And you can keep a journal and say, look, I yell at people because I like to fight because I procrastinate because, and start analyzing exactly what is it that looks like it's driving you there. And then you can start the rebuilding process, the forgiveness, forgiving yourself because you were never wrong, and start moving forward with progress in your life. But it's crucial to understand where you come from. And that's it tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you for being with me here. Don't forget to check out our website, whatyouthinkiswhatyouget.com. This weekend I'm going to be Saturday from 2 to 5. I'm going to be at the Owl's Lantern in Fullerton doing a great workshop. It's a 3-hour workshop. It's your love life and the law of attraction. And if you're having issues with relationships or trying to make a relationship, I strongly suggest you come down to Fullerton and check out this workshop. We're going to have a raffle. I'm going to be giving away one of my personalized custom hypnosis MP3s. And what this is it's a $175 value. And what I do is I have you come in for a free consultation and we analyze a problem in your life. And then I build a custom hypnosis MP3 designed to eliminate that issue in your life. And so we're going to be giving that away. We're having a raffle. We've got a lot more stuff coming up in April and in March. We're launching a new website and our product store in March. Check out our website and look for the classes. And if you want to stay on top of everything that's going on, because things are moving fast and furious, we just finished a 3-day workshop in Long Beach about wealth building blocks. And these things are coming fast. On the class page of the website, there is a button on there where you can sign up to be on the mailing list. And you can get all the latest updates for all the classes that are going to be happening and get to sign up before you miss them. Okay? So until next week, I want to wish everyone an awesome week and an awesome life. I hope that tonight's episode really helped out the understanding of everything. And if it didn't, then you can always email me and say I need further clarification. realitychanger57@gmail.com. And don't forget, we recently launched our blog, realitychanger57.blogspot.com. Be sure to check it out. Lots of tips and techniques and lots of videos and some inspirational messages that change on a daily basis. So be sure and check that out. Everybody, my love to all of you. Thank you so much for listening these past few months. And I look forward to many years being here to help you out. Take care and good night.